Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
Hey,
Hey.
how
How
are you?
Working on greater. How are you?
I am okay.
Well, sometimes that's a good place to be. Some-
Well,
sometimes
if I
okay is a
really
good
tell the
place.
truth about it, I'm not okay, but
Well, let's talk about it. That's
it
what
is what it is.
yeah. Well, that's what kitchen talk is for, to talk about.
Oh, this gonna be my therapy session, just me and you.
When I talk to my therapist, that's how she starts. Well, let's talk about
Well,
it.
let's talk about it.
I love her dearly.
I as much as I know that it is helpful, I still have not done it.
Oh man, yeah. You
Yeah,
must sometimes we need to find the right people to talk to.
yeah,
We have that. You got mom, you got dad, you got siblings, best friends, and stuff like that. But
yeah,
it's different when that person is professional. They know how to look at things and they've done the research to say, yeah, nah, you need to go back a little bit. That stemmed from something else.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's good to have both. It's good to have that circle that you can go to.
Sure, sure.
There are certain things that we deal with that the best friend, good mama, all that, they don't have the tools to help you to overcome some of the challenges that we face.
It's so crazy because, yeah, I think when you have this, is not what we came to talk about today,
Not at
and
all.
and I guess I'm just like I have like spent most of my life like not being bothered.
Right.
So now that I've had events that have bothered me in a way that I can't use the things that I would use to not be bothered, if
Right.
that makes sense.
It does. You got to find some new tools.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
how to
So
deal with those new issues that you are not accustomed to dealing with.
right, right, right. So it's like, I'm the go-to
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. They
You
come to
know,
you for advice.
I'm the one that,
Yeah.
keeps people's spirits lifted
Right.
and it's
Right.
gonna be okay and da 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 da. And, you know, yes, you may feel that way and it's valid. Da, da, I'm not used to being the one that needs to say
Correct.
that
Yeah.
for somebody to say it to me.
Yeah.
So
And that's again,
it's
sometimes we need that because you're always giving.
right,
So you need somebody sometimes to put back into you too. You know what I mean?
right, right. That's true. That is very true. I'm learning that. I am learning that,
Yeah.
but this not gonna be the platform because
Nah, this is not the platform. This
yeah,
is just to start it off.
yeah, yeah. This not
You know,
this not what
everybody
we
don't
gonna
need
do
to know.
tonight.
Everybody don't need to know.
This is my happy place.
Yeah.
Although I gotta be honest, I am feeling a little overwhelmed
Mhm.
with some things that's going on, events and da da da, whatever.
Yeah.
But when I come to the kitchen, it's almost like therapy,
It is. It
even
is.
though it's like it just takes my mind. It
Yeah.
lifts me up. So that's why I love the kitchen. Love the kitchen. Cannot wait. We didn't even say it. This is Kitchen Talk, CTC.
Conversations that cook.
Yes, they do. Like you just jump right in.
Hey,
Jump right
that
in and get
that
them
pot was
started.
hot. That
Yeah,
pot
get
was
them
hot.
started. Just we came in hot.
Oh well.
So yeah, so um I've been like some very interesting things I've been seeing that I wanted us to kind of, cook up and talk about. So one of them was okay, so we are such a what's the word? And I heard the word and it's such a beautiful, it's not a beautiful word, but it just sounds so like I really know what I'm talking about when I say it.
Okay.
Litigious. We're such a litigious society.
Okay.
Meaning we like to sue people. We just
Right. Right.
sue happy now.
Right. Right.
So one of the things that I ran across was there's a lawsuit or settlement or something where social media, and I don't know whether it's just Facebook or if it's Instagram or if it's this or it's that, but there is I saw a commercial where you can stake a claim
Mm-hmm.
if your child attempted or committed suicide, has negative self-image, da 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 da, and so on and so on and so on, because of social media.
Right.
And when I first saw it, I was like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, real?
You know,
Really?
you sent it to me and I had to look at it twice.
Yeah.
Because of that, I was like, okay. I know, we out here trying to get the bag any way you can. But at some point, somebody got to take responsibility, right?
And that's what was in my mind. Like,
Somebody got to be
I
the leader.
get that there is a sense of prayer or praying, PREY,
Right.
on people, or just it's really about money. So
Correct.
you do whatever you need to do to get the money, whatever, make it exciting, make it this, make it that.
Right.
So I get that. Do we have to hold them accountable for that? Or is it you have the option not to look?
Right.
So
Right.
where is that? So first, where is that line?
Correct. Correct.
Where is that line? How far can we hold them accountable or
Because
not?
here's the thing, Lisa. Nobody's forcing you to turn it on. Nobody's forcing you to buy the device. Nobody's forcing you to say, okay, you need to stay on at this longer time, whatever it may be. It's all your choice, right?
Right.
You choose, okay, especially with our kids, right? At some point, mom and dad need to say, okay, we're not at
Friends,
the
don't go down that road yet. I want to talk about the company. We're gonna get there.
Ooh,
But I want to talk about where is the company's responsibility? Is there a responsibility for the company?
I think the company has put the responsibility in there for themselves as well as the public too. I mean, there is some responsibility that they need to have in terms of, okay, here's the tool, here's the access, but you know what? We know we have some users that are not of age to watch X, Y, and Z. So we put limits in place in terms of child security, locks, whatever it may be. As a responsible adult, i.e. parent, you can put this on the device so that anybody that's underage or that you feel should not be viewing X, Y, and Z, they can do that. Not only that, they've put in places or mechanisms where we can lock the phone. So if I'm the responsible adult, I can literally put a timer on the phone for the person who's not of age. Or say, you know what, you could only use it from this hour to this hour. So the company has said, okay, we need to take some accountability too to help our users be more responsible.
Okay.
So there are mechanisms, but again, it goes back down to the user. It's almost the same thing to me, and I might be shooting a little bit far right now. Gun safety. It's like, listen, you have the tool, but you got to know how to use it. You got
Yeah.
to be responsible with it. It's a lot of power that comes with having these devices.
Yeah.
So the manufacturer knows that. They know that this thing could be very addictive. They tell
Yeah.
you that this thing is addictive. And over time, if you don't put it down, you can get caught up in these clicks and these baits and other
Yeah.
things to keep you coming back to wanting to see more, whereas you should be using your time for something else. They know that.
Yeah.
So it's not the manufacturers. Again, to me, it's going back to the old when TV first came out.
So
They
even
said
when
this is
you so even when you talk about that and the company's responsibility, so social media's responsibility, the organization's responsibility. So you're saying that they have informed you of different things, what might be good for this age or whatever, just like they came out with the ratings of movies and different disclaimers
yep.
of what is in this particular TV show or da 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 da. So is that as far as their responsibility goes? Because the lawsuit is claiming that they have put in place algorithms or something like that
Yep.
that target. So why would a company do that? That target young people, that target, or is that just a part of
I think
building
that's
a
a part of
business? You
marketing.
have you have a target audience,
Correct.
that you
Correct.
are trying to reach.
Correct.
But if you're reaching them in a negative way, what is that? Is that the
I mean, what is the
responsibility?
negative way? What
Huh?
is the negative way?
Oh
That's
well,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
Because again, everything that's marketed to us is targeted, right?
True,
So they
true.
know, okay, this device, it's been going to let's just say
Well, they
cartoons
know we
or
know all of our devices stalk us.
there you go.
So
So
they
they already
they
know
know.
that this device, this is a child that's using this device. Most of the information is coming from a child, the browser, all of that. All right.
Yeah,
So at some point, they're going to start putting in information in terms of, hey, here's the toy, here's the brand, here's the food.
yeah,
But again, it's still up to the user to say yay or nay. And I think if they take that away, then you lose your power. So the
yeah.
lawsuit to me is in a sense, I understand, like you say, going for the bad, but you're also trying to take away something that we own automatically, and that's the power to choose whether what we watch and what we don't watch.
So now we dig into the parental responsibility.
Mhm.
So, which is where you were about to go when I stopped you earlier. I wholeheartedly agree with you, that it is a parental, responsibility. I agree with you on that. It is a choice. I agree with you on that. We can, JT.
Hey, what's going on?
JT
Amen.
Money.
All right.
So,
What's
so do
going
you
on?
do you remember your thought that I stopped you on?
Yeah, again, the parent should have essentially control to say what they should watch and what they should not watch. It shouldn't be up to the company to say, oh, this is good and this is not good. I'm going to provide the content. It's up to you as the consumer, i.e. the parent, to decide what's good and what's not good. What do I want them to watch? What do I don't want them to watch? And again, the company is providing mechanisms for you to do that, for you to organize that. So for somebody to try to sue you to say, hey, it's because of the product that you're selling that's messing up my child, that's a hard drink to swallow right there. Because again, you have the power. You get to choose when you turn it on, when you turn it off. Should they even have it? You know, I remember when the phones first came out, you had to be a certain age, you know, to get that cell phone. Now, man, these kids
actually, when phones first came out, you had to have a certain
kind of money, right?
Yeah. to even buy one and use one, because the only people that really had them was drug dealers and musicians.
Right. I remember having a beeper, right? And it took me a long time to get that beeper. Then when the cell phone came out, I had a job. I'm now like, nah, you ain't getting this.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm gonna even go back for you guys. The headphones, the Walkmans. My parents were like, no, sir. You got to be a certain age because we want to hear what you listening to.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't just, oh, I want a Walkman, I get a Walkman. I was a teenager before I even got a Walkman and was able to use it and my parents be okay with it.
That's true.
You end up playing that loop tape.
Correct. You don't know what's on that mixtape. So they wanted to know that, okay, you're mature enough to handle what you're listening to.
Yeah.
Right now, these kids are getting these cell phones at like 6, 7, 8. I'm like,
6.
So you know,
it's become the babysitter.
Yeah.
Correct. And then the worst part of it all is that the parents don't put the things on it.
Listen, some years ago when my little cousin, MOG.
What's going on?
There you go.
Hey, I apologize for being late to the party, but
apologies needed.
Just getting off the road. Just getting off the road, man.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Scott came in there with that New Jack City turtleneck on.
Hey, listen, man.
Listen.
So I take it you had a good birthday weekend.
Yeah, it was good. I got a chance just to do nothing.
Hey, that's one of the best things to do.
Yes.
I love a do nothing day.
Right.
JT, the kids on New Jack City would have had this problem.
So just to bring you up, Marvin, we're talking about the lawsuit or the potential lawsuit on social media. If your child, committed suicide, attempted to commit suicide, has an eating disorder, developed an eating disorder, other mental health conditions due to social media usage.
And you know what's hard about that is that there's so many other things that could be the contributor to that. Well, you can't just say it was social media. It could be so many other issues at home, at school, just around the neighborhood that could cause that child to go into any one of the listed items. Right. So to pinpoint it and say it was social media, that's going to be hard to do.
But that is their socialization, though. Period. Yeah. Like they don't really socialize with each other in person.
But that's an assumption.
Social media. They sit in the rooms together with their phones.
Yeah, but that's still an assumption. Because individually, let's just say you got 10 kids. 9 of them might be doing that, but that one who's trying to sue may not be doing that. So it's going to be hard to put that in court.
But see, I think this is the thing you have to look at with that. It's proving intent, right? Mm-hmm. That's one of the things. So if I'm looking at post. So now I have literal documentation of evidence showing this. So now I know someone is liable because I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is, can I make the social media company make them liable for someone else's post? You follow what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So that becomes the question there. And so what will happen is, for example, if you go into a grocery store, right? So JT walk into a grocery store behind me. I spill something on the floor.
Mhm,
I did it,
mhm.
but JT falls in their store immediately after I spill it. Although I'm in the store, he's not going to sue me. He's going to sue the store,
Right.
and the store is going to be held with a level of liability because it's their responsibility to keep their floors clean, even though it's something that I did.
Right.
So
My
the potential is there.
But if they have cameras, they can show that you just did it and you just walked through it. That
But
might let them off the hook.
they still got to be there to clean that up whenever it happens.
No. I agree with you. But I'm saying if Marvin walk in and you walk in right behind him, they haven't seen the spill.
right. So but,
So how they
again,
gonna clean up something they haven't seen
but again,
that
I
you
think,
just walked that just happened?
but as and Lisa, what you're saying makes sense,
Mhm,
but that doesn't make law.
mhm.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
What you're saying makes sense. For example, a person breaks into someone's house. This has happened. A guy breaks into a house, tries to get out the house through the garage. The door locks, and he can't get out the garage. So he's stuck in the garage and he can't eat. He gets out and sues the family and wins the lawsuit.
I heard about another one about somebody getting hurt while they was robbing
Right.
somebody and sued them and won.
And won.
That to me is the craziest thing.
It's the
But
craziest.
but did he go to jail afterwards? But
Now that I don't know, but the whole point is this. Because what you
he
got to
sued
understand,
him.
they wasn't on trial for him committing a crime.
Correct.
So that's beside the case. That's
Yeah.
beside the
It's
point.
a whole nother case.
That's a
So
whole
what
nother
they're
case.
saying is, that social media creates an atmosphere or does something where they see these images or whatever that leads to the mental health conditions or the traumas or whatever, that they have created some kind of pattern or system that kind of feeds into that.
Right. So basically what you have is a situation where people want to do whatever they want to do on social media. But
Mm-hmm.
when it adversely affects them, they want social media to be held responsible.
Mm-hmm.
What you have, and think about it, right? The problem that we have today with radicalization and all this stuff going on is the fact that, years ago, you would have to, you would have to find different articles, different newspapers. It wouldn't just be fed to you directly,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what's happening now, this stuff is being fed to you
Mm-hmm.
directly through
24
social
hours a day, 7
24
days a
hours a
week.
day. So it's easy for a person to become radicalized. It's easy for a person to become programmed and begin to act differently, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
you look at young girls who are impressionable and they're going through a stage in their life where they're trying to fit in, and everybody's posting this, that, and the other. I was thinking about this today. You remember McNeil, Deacon McNeil, Lisa,
Uh,
at Mount Pleasant?
yes.
Man,
Wait. Deacon,
yeah, I think he was a deacon, McNeil. But anyway,
you talking about used to work
his
at Publix?
yeah,
Oh, he wasn't a deacon, but yeah, I do know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
Listen, his lawn was immaculate. You hear me? Oh my God, his lawn was beautiful. Stick blade of grass. I'm gonna make my story short. So me and Paul Lasson, we started saying, hey, man, we got to get on it. So we started working on our grass. And Paul, he lived in the next community over, but he would ride past my yard every now and then. Hey, bro, you need to get to work, right? So make a long story short, he rides past, the yard is looking green. It looks nice. I got it cut, trimmed. It looks nice. He said, man, the yard looking nice. And what he didn't know was my yard was full of weeds. But from a distance, it looked good. So saying all that to say, social media, people are able to present weeds as if it's some good stuff.
Yeah.
And because people keep seeing it, they feel like, why can't I get my yard to look like that when their yard is really messed up?
But Marvin, here's the thing, good brother. You still get to choose to turn it on or to turn it off. And that's the issue right there in terms of the social media piece.
Right. But again,
as a consumer, you are still in control. If the consumer did not have control, like if I can't turn it off, it's always on, and I had no control over what, when, and where, and how to use it, then there's a valid case there because I don't have control.
But see, this is where you have to understand. This is where you have to understand. We give today's youth credit for being smarter than we were. You hear people say that, oh, kids these days are smart, right? What happens is they have access to more knowledge.
Right.
But they don't know how to apply that knowledge. So, and they don't have discernment. I was talking to my wife earlier saying kids these days are more trusting. They'll see something online and they just trust it and they'll click on it. Whereas if you take someone from my generation, you know what I mean? We're looking at like, nah, I ain't gonna just click on nothing. Nah, You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So what happens is, and I'll say this, that's why you have to look at the responsibility of the parent, because the young mind is so impressionable. Somebody got something there. You know, yeah. Their young mind, and Vincent Irvin, he's on there. That's it. Their mind is so impressionable, they don't have discernment. So they really don't understand. That's why parenting is so important. But sometimes
I agree with you 100%. And that's again,
Vincent Irvin is a future POTUS, just so y'all know.
Okay, hey, you know what? There you go. Make some policies. Put some policies in place. But at the end of the day, the responsibility is still on the consumer. The parent still has control. Literally, I was saying this before you came in. The company has recognized that. And they said, you know what? We're going to put some mechanisms in place for the parent. So there's some parent control to say, hey, your child, who we know can be very impressionable, we're going to put a time limit on it. We're going to put some things on it where they can't even go. Like if I'm a parent, I could put a lock and say, you can't even go to Disney Channel.
And that's my thing. Is like, where is the I get what you're saying. I get that there's good and evil, social media. I get all of that. But as an adult or as a parent, how are you letting your child consume so much?
Correct.
That it does not say, hold on. Everything has an influence on all of us. Period.
Correct.
Everything has an influence. Now, the thing is, we choose to either follow it or not follow it. We choose to go with it or not go with it. But as a child, and my mom, knowing that I probably wouldn't make a good choice, would try to shield from that until they felt like I might handle making the choice.
This case may turn into a backlash because again, there are parents who get sued for not being good parents.
Yeah.
So you might be going after the bag, and they say, "Oh no, it's not them, it's you. You're not doing what you need to do." So now they sue the parent for not doing what parents should be doing. That's
Yeah.
gonna be the issue.
Well,
Like,
Okay, Marvin, go ahead.
So there's two things. Well,
Okay.
one question I want to ask you, Lisa, is this: was your mom concerned about being your friend or being your mama?
So my mother was not a typical mother. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew she was the mama.
Yeah.
However, she was also my friend.
But Lisa,
But I knew she was the mama. And that and two, and the flip side of that is she had to kind of teeter between me and my sister. Because depending on the person, I knew she was the mama, but I also could handle she was my friend. My sister couldn't really make that switch like that. So she had to really be the mama with my sister.
but again,
I see what you're saying.
But that's my point. Your mom know how to treat you, and give you certain leeway. But at the end of the day, when it had to be, look, I'm your mama.
Yeah.
This is what I say.
Oh yeah.
That was it. So one thing we have is a situation where parents are trying to be too friendly with their children. And how can I stop you from being on social media when I'm on social media all day as well? That's one.
I can always, and
this generation of do as I don't. We would grew up in do as I say and not as I do. This ain't that generation.
JT, was you about to say the same thing?
Huh?
You was about to say the same thing?
No, I was talking about mamas. I was like, one thing I could tell you, two things for sure. My mama was not one of my little friends, and she wasn't with fool. You see what I'm
So when you talk about responsibility of parenting, now this is the other thing you have to look at. And now this now gets into a little systemic racism a little bit here, because and this is what I'm saying. So if you go back, remember there was a time in certain areas where they started wanting to punish the parents for what their kids were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were aiming this now at low income families, right, but more specifically, the parents that were being affected by it were low income Black families.
Right.
Now, again, I'm not saying that white families were not affected by this, but Black families far and beyond were affected by this at a greater rate. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to hold the parents accountable for their children's actions. Mm-hmm. So now you have a situation now where the parent has to have control over this child on social media. And when something happens to the child, because the child was on social media and consuming so much social media, the parent now wants to say social media is responsible. Mm-hmm. But like Franz was saying, hey, what if we flip that and say, wait a minute, but
where were you?
Control. What happened to your control over? We'll just stay off of it then.
Yeah. So go ahead, JT. I'm sorry.
I mean, when you say that stuff like that, when you're talking about the parent got control over it, like I honestly.
That's right, Shima. Sorry.
I honestly believe, and I know other people feel differently. I'm like, I would like my child to have the phone, but listen, you don't got to have that phone all day.
Yeah.
I agree. Set boundaries. Set, parameters or whatever. So the only way that I could, because now kids smart and they have access to a lot of stuff. So you can have a child that you did not give a phone, but they got a whole social media thing going.
Yeah.
In the library, I was just about to say that. Library, in the school library, they sitting on the computer and whatever. So you can be a responsible, and not saying, parents aren't responsible, but you can be a very responsible parent. Try to, parent as well as you can, but your child can still be out there wilding.
Right. Mm-hmm. But and I was just about to say that to bring the balance.
Then to me, that's why the social media could be sued.
But see, for example, let me give you an example. So I know they probably get mad, but it's okay. I remember I took one of my sons.
Ain't playing.
Listen, I took one of my phones for my son's phone for almost a year. Look, you ain't responsible. I took the phone for about a year. I didn't realize the boy was still making phone calls, still on social media, because I didn't realize you can get I don't know what kind of account it is, but you can, back in those days, you had the phone and then you had the iPod.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could turn the iPod into a phone and still do the same communication, the same thing, so forth and so on. So the other side of it is like Lisa was saying, I've learned that you can be the best parent ever, right?
Yeah.
And your child still has a mind of their own,
Right.
and they're going to grow up to be their own person. And so the great thing about what Lisa said with her mom is the fact that their relationship was strong enough that, hey, look, I can parent you, and at the same time have a relationship with you and help you to grow, because I can give you advice. Because
Right.
one thing I've learned is this: kids rather take your money but don't want to take their parents' advice. They would rather take the advice of a friend that has really no life experience. But you got to remember, they're not trying to fit into your relationship, because they get your love unconditionally. They're trying to fit in with their friends.
That's true.
So they're so easily influenced by their friends. You know what I'm saying? And so forth and so on. So just understanding you can be a great parent. And so I don't want parents to feel like, oh, we're putting all the blame on them, because you
Yeah,
can do
no.
your best and still your child can find a way.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Hold on, friends. JT.
And like with Dr. Scott saying all of that, I was thinking about, I saw the whole situation with T.I.'s son, and then T.I. made a video the other day, and he was talking about how he had done everything that he can. He had, they done whooped him, they done did this, they done put him on punishment, they've done, and even though this child was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, he has chosen to, I guess, go down the wrong path. He want to be a gangster. He want to be a thug, even though he wasn't raised around no gangsters, no thugs. He was raised in a $2 million house. I mean, okay,
With a
yeah,
daddy that go in and out of jail.
but that's his dad, though, and I understand that. And yes, but the thing
That's
about
not an example.
that his surroundings is not that.
But I think the thing is too, though, Lisa, is this: when you say his daddy going in, but what is his daddy going in and out of jail for?
Because I know
Doesn't
last
matter.
time he was in jail,
The last time was guns.
Yeah, he had some guns.
But he had guns.
Wasn't he dealing at one time?
I'm not too sure.
I guess what I'm trying to say is you could say, yeah, he got this $1 million house and da da da, but it's still his lifestyle.
Well, here's the thing.
Or even what he raps about.
Yeah, but his T.I. was
you done
really
made
trying
it glamorous.
He was still trying to give his sons the opportunity to choose a better lifestyle than he had to go through. Mm-hmm. The thing is that most parents have to remember is that the child still has a choice.
Right.
They choose the route that they want to go to. So what I'm going to do is put you in the best position possible. I'm going to ensure that, just like we saw earlier, you know what? You can't handle this device Monday through Sunday. So I'm gonna give it to you Monday through Thursday. I'm gonna do things so that it doesn't overwhelm you or take over you. But at the end of the day, the child still has to choose. As a parent, I'm gonna do all I can to put you in the best position so that you don't get caught up in the mix. But no matter how hard or what I do, I know that there are other forces that are going to be there to try to will you in and get you duped. But that's all I was saying earlier, is that these companies actually put things in place for that.
No, well, there's two things. One,
you always got two things.
Well, because I was gonna say one thing, but then he said something that made me say
two things.
Two things, right? So one thing is, understanding that again, the children gonna mimic what they see.
Yeah.
So, like she was saying, if they see me doing certain things, they're gonna mimic that. We're gonna a lot of times we're like our parents, even when we don't want to be.
That's correct.
You know, even when we don't want to be, we pick just certain things innately. We just start becoming like them. You know, so that's one thing. You know, the other thing is even though you say, you know, the companies put things in place, they still don't make changes to the algorithm that keep feeding you the same stuff.
No,
In
they
other
don't.
words, if you look at some of the documentaries with people that used to work with these companies and they're blowing the whistle, they're telling you that these companies knew that they were going to get to this a long time ago, and they did what?
Nothing. But they didn't have to. That's what I'm trying to get to. The reason why is because, again, you bought the device. It's like buying a car. We know that there are certain things, responsibilities that come with the car, but I also know that I'm in control. I got to put the key in and then drive it.
Listen,
I don't put that key in and drive it. That car's not going anywhere. The problem with our system currently, and with this particular issue, is that you have control of that device.
How many people
is that you're addicted to it? You get caught up in it. Okay, I can see you are an adult, but when you're a child and you're under somebody's supervision, somebody's house, that's different. You said earlier, Doc, I took away the phone for a year. Listen, some of these kids will go crazy.
Listen, what you doing? Making. Go ahead, JT. I'm sorry.
I was like, man, I know kids that can't survive a day. My sister took my nephew's phone, and that little cat like lost his mind. Yeah. Like so attached. The phone has so much control over them. Like dude want. I mean, like I don't understand.
JT,
yeah, they were talking about how kids don't go outside and play no more.
And that's what you do as a parent. You say, you know what? And I agree with Dr. Scott. You take it away. Man, you could. My dad gave me this story. He said, man, when you was a little boy and your mom went out and I had to watch you, you just started crying. And I was watching TV. He said, you know, I fed you. I changed you. I did everything there to make you comfortable, but you still kept crying. So you know what I did? Let you cry. And then you went to sleep and you was good. A lot of times we just try to pacify, take the phone away, but live for a week, a month, a year until
How about we not put it in their hand at 1 year, 2 years old? How about we don't do that?
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Like my little cousin took my phone. He had to be no more than a year or so, maybe 2 years. Whoop. I'm like, how do you know how to work my phone?
I got a question.
Better than you.
Right.
Yes. Serious as cancer. To make the average dancer hype, but then a heart attack. Go ahead, man.
You know what? I can't stand you.
Have y'all ever been at church and I was thinking this one time. I was at church. I was like, I wonder, are these kids even listening? Do they learn about God or Christ or anything? I have been at church, and I'm talking about kids are just like on the seat, just like this.
Yep.
Well, see, JT, it ain't just kids.
It's not just kids.
It ain't just kids. It's the adults too. You know, sometimes when you talk about church, I'm like, can they even enjoy the worship? Are they really worshiping, or are they trying to live stream for their followers?
Yeah.
Well, so I think what happens is, so when we went to church, first of all, you had to sit your butt down and be quiet.
Yep.
So we talk about attention spans and this, that, and the other. We have not. I believe those were the moments when we were trained to be quiet, to pay attention, or even just use our own brain capacity to just think. Even if you're not listening to what's going on, using your imagination. But we have made sure that our children are occupied the whole time that they have not exercised that muscle. The
Yeah.
muscle
Like
of
she
intention,
said
the
that.
muscle of imagination and creative thinking and critical thinking, because
Yeah.
that we have always made sure that they are occupied. I'm trying to enjoy Jesus. I want you to be quiet. Here go my phone.
Yeah. Like she said, sometimes as parents we're lazy.
Correct.
Mm.
Correct.
But
And then too, I think not even just lazy. You have a new generation of parents who they don't want to deal with the issue. Instead of addressing it, you say, you know what, this would be the quickest way to resolve this conflict. Because of what you said earlier, Doc, I want you to be my friend, not my child.
yeah.
So I need to pacify that so that we could continue this great relationship. There's no.
So one thing about that is
Right in the
it is
head.
a very, very fine line, right? So I think what my mom was trying to create is an atmosphere or a relationship where you could come to her about anything. My
Yeah.
parents were very open. We could come and ask them anything. And some of the things that I would come and ask them, I go back and tell my friends what they said. And my friends would be like, "You asked your mom and daddy that?" I'm like, yeah. So to me, it wasn't foreign.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the line that some parents are trying to find.
But see, also, Lisa, what you got to understand is that's not just the parent, that's the child. Because remember, you said your sister couldn't handle that, right?
Yeah.
So like for me.
But as she got older, I would say,
But again, she's maturing into an adult now.
Right.
She wasn't a child saying, "Okay, my mama can be my friend." She had to mature and get closer to adulthood before she said, "Okay, now I understand it." It's like with my kids. Me and my boys now, we have different conversations now than when they were younger, because at the end of the day, I want you to be able to come and talk to me about any and everything, and I want to create, but I'm not gonna in order to create that, I'm not gonna just let you get away with anything.
Oh, sure.
I if I have to, lay it down, I'm a boom. You know what I'm saying? In order to make sure that we still got to understand it, because at the end of the day, I ain't your friend. If I have to tell you that, I'm gonna tell you that I ain't your friend. You know what I mean? So don't come to me any kind of way with some foolishness, think that you can do this, that, and the other, and get away with it. No, it ain't gonna happen like that. So sometimes, again, that relationship is a special relationship, but every parent must understand you can't have that.
Yeah.
Because the child is just.
It depends on the child. Definitely.
Depends on the child. You know what I mean? And so
again,
when you say your mom was different, no, Lisa, you were different.
And I think too, you both said
my mama was different though. She was.
It's the maturity level as well. So again, as you get to certain points in your life, you start picking up on things. Okay, I can do this, I can do that. There's a reason why they say you could drive at a certain age. There's a reason why you can do certain things at a certain point in your life, because you need to have the maturity enough to get, say, hey, okay, good example. I went on a jet ski, right? The guy said, hey, we need your license and information so that you can use this jet ski. But because you're a certain age, you don't have to go and take this test or licensure to actually use the jet ski. They have a new law now that if you're under a certain age, you have to get a certificate or something to say that you know how to use this machine. They know that at this point in my life, I have the maturity. They grandfathered me in to be able to use this device. It's, to me, the same thing with these phones.
But that ain't by age all the time, though, friend.
No, it's not about age, it's maturity.
Again, but how they gauge your maturity? By just your age.
I was grandfathered into that one. I'm talking for the phones. Somebody got to say at some point, this is your time. This is your maturity. This is when you could grandfather in to be able to use this and have full control of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and to me, it's not the phone itself, but it's what we allow, the apps and things that we allow on the phone. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with the child having a phone if they're at an age where they have to come home by themselves or do things by themselves. Yeah, you want them to be able to communicate with you, right? Mm-hmm. One of the scariest moments for me and made me say, I need to get them a phone, was I used to pick the boys up from school every day. And so one day I got tied up on campus and I couldn't leave. So I didn't leave on time. So now I'm late. And, I'm speeding, trying to get to their school. I'm trying to tear the road up to get there. And I could see them in the distance, but I couldn't get to them. And I could tell they were looking lost, like, what do we do? Where is he? And I couldn't call them, but thank God they had enough wherewithal to borrow one of their friends' phones to call me. You know what I mean? And say, hey, and I'm like, hey, I see you. Stay there. I'm on the way. You know what I mean? So at that point, it's like, okay, it's okay to have a phone for emergency. The problem is what we're putting on the phone and how long we allow them to use it.
So now you've made my point.
Yeah,
that's my point.
That's
exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Again, we have the power. We have to use it wisely. The problem is that people have these devices, and it's not just cell phones. It's the car. It's the gun. It's all of these things. You have it, but you're not using it wisely.
Yeah, my mama. I remember when the beepers came out, and we wanted to get a beeper. My mom was like, "You don't need no beeper. You gonna be where I tell you to be when I tell you to be there."
Listen. Let me ask you this question, because we talking about the lawsuit, right? Let me ask this question: Which company you think has one of the biggest lawsuits in America that they had to pay, and they've been paying it for the longest period of time?
Was that Facebook?
Probably Facebook.
I missed what you just stated, Lisa. Put that up. Put that back.
Shima said, instead of social media, read a book, have a family discussion,
movie.
And this is Cameron Houston, when he watches, this his mom.
Yeah. Okay. But all those are good things to do, and to interact with your child. But this is the problem with it, right? Going back to my question, Philip Morris and the tobacco industry, they've been paying for lawsuits for the longest time, $1 billion lawsuit. Mm-hmm. Now, at the end of the day, they never once made a person pick up
one
cigarette.
So,
right.
But their lawsuit was about the toxic and whatever chemicals that caused that they knew about that they did not say.
And that's the same thing with social media, with Facebook. So listen.
It kind of is, friend.
You're shaking your head, but that's the problem.
It kind of is. So they don't say you can use this, but we doing some logarithms that's going, we targeting da-da-da, we targeting da-da-da-da. But can they say this is going to cause
yes, they can.
mental health issues?
No, listen.
Or can cause mental health issues.
Listen, when you go back.
Put that disclaimer on there.
Listen. Philip Morris now is having to deal with cancer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And all the long-term, cardiovascular effects of cancer, that when they started selling cigarettes, no one knew that cigarettes could cause cardiovascular disease. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No one was thinking it was, okay, hey, they developing cancer, but cardiovascular disease, really? But now heart failure is also associated with smoking.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So all these things now associated with smoking. So, but when you go back to the people blowing the whistle on these companies, social media companies, they're telling you the companies knew. They knew this. They have the data to see, because they're watching how long you stay on a certain ad, how long you look at a certain post. They know that. And so what they do is they never change the algorithm to make sure you didn't get another one like that. No, You're reading that one, and then it gives you another suggestion on what you should look at. And then you get past that one, and there's another suggestion of what you should look at. And therefore, you're staying on it hours after hours, watching it and watching it and watching it. And the companies knew that. So there is a level of, this is the same thing that the cigarette companies are dealing with. And this is the thing. With that being said, people still buy cigarettes.
And we still be on social media.
So here's the thing with the cigarette piece is that they actually put that label on for that reason. So they're still paying, but they put that label on, that advisory that, hey, this is addictive. If you use at your own risk. The thing with the cell phone is what you said earlier.
It's not the cell phone.
It's not the cell phone, friends.
It's the apps. So you're talking about social media.
Social media.
That's the piece of it. You choose to add it to your phone. You choose when you add that to your phone, you literally sign a disclaimer. And most people
this is the thing. This is the thing though.
On your phone.
This is the thing. It doesn't stand up because why? Because it has to be clearly stated. And nowhere in there did any social media company say this can be addictive.
Here's the thing: you accepted the app and everything that comes with it. Now,
none of that, but again,
they can use elastic clause in court to kind of stretch that out to kind of make it work for them.
That's not. But none of that. Listen, none of that is in there saying I agree to the addictive properties. I agree. None of that's in there. You agreeing to give up your personal information.
Yeah.
That they're going to use your information, that this is the data that we collect, so forth and so on. Yeah, you agreeing to that.
Mm-hmm. But so you know what? It's going to be interesting to see how far the case actually goes. Because then it's going to be interesting to see other apps. Because right now, people are
making money hand over fist. It's going to be settled. They're going to get them a little bit of money and keep it moving.
But then what do you do as a company to say, so you're going to put that in the disclaimer now that this could be addictive if you use this particular app?
Think about this, right? On records, right? They had to put on their advisory, an advisory, explicitly.
Correct.
And it had to be in a conspicuous. Mm-hmm. It had to be obvious that you can read it. So they're going to have to put on these websites, on these social media, that using these apps can be addictive.
But you know, when you do that, you open up a Pandora's box that you may not want to open.
I think the Pandora's box is already open.
So if you do that, then you need to say, okay, any live streaming, any application could be a form of addiction because the person might be on it and on it.
Absolutely.
Kitchen talk. Because we so good that they love our content, they're gonna watch it and be addicted to it. Now we need a disclaimer.
But again, hold on. But see, this is what you got to understand.
Oh my
Kitchen talk will not be held liable for that. It's what it's being viewed on.
So the problem that I have is what we started on earlier is that we are a sue-happy country.
Sue-happy.
So we're suing for things that.
Yep, I use my big word when we open the show.
Litigious.
Like really, like you. Okay, now there are certain things that I agree. You need to be held responsible for what happened, but there are certain things like okay, now that went a little too far. And we're diving deeper and deeper into areas where you can't sneeze without getting sued.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And you're right, it's crazy. You know, my thing is this too. I think what we have to understand too is this. There is a level of the social media apps, you know, the internet that we have now. It's not even the internet in the sense of doing a Google a search, because people are not searching now. The information is being sent to them, so they don't have to search for it. somebody else talking about the same thing the same way. If you're listening to one thing that says hate, then they're going to send you something else about the same thing that's talking about hate from somebody else. And you keep getting that over and over and over and over again, because that's the way the algorithm is set up. You start even getting commercials about or advertisement dealing with that same stuff, you know? And so we got to understand.
And sometimes not even that you Googled it. If you talking around some of these devices,
some of these things,
I'm telling you, this junk stalks you. It's stalker.
Listen, I have to tell Siri and Katana, look, I don't give you permission to listen to my conversation.
Right.
Man.
I ain't talking to you, so don't be trying to eavesdrop.
I'm telling you, they stalk you. It's stalkers.
Listen, it's been 100 times I've been talking around my phone, and then you get on Facebook, and the same thing that you've been talking about is right there.
Again, we give it a lot. It has a lot of power, but we also have the power. What can we do? Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Take out the app. Don't use the app. Don't give these apps to the kids to use. You, as a consumer, have the power. If we stop buying it, they'll stop selling it. Yeah. But they keep buying, they keep selling it because it's the same thing like tobacco. They keep selling it because you buying it.
Yeah. I mean, think about this, right? You can control gas prices. Don't think you can't. Right?
Stop.
If I stop buying it.
Stop buying gas.
Yeah.
Start carpooling.
And how you do that?
No, start carpooling. Watch, as we get closer to a time where more and more electric cars are getting on the road and less people are driving gas or using gas, once the demand for something drops.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that.
Yeah. So and I'm just using that as an example because you know what? More people drive and there's one person in the car. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we carpooled and again, I'm guilty now. I'm not free of this. But if we carpool, you know what? We use less gas.
True.
If we use less gas, the demand for it, guess what? They because it's about what? They want to make a profit. So again, you know, in a capitalistic society, you know, you got to deal with the greed because when does a company make enough money?
Never.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you made a
billion. I really think gas prices can go down, but because we didn't got used to it, they're gonna stay up.
Right. So and that's the exact point I'm saying.
We would never see $2 gas again.
Well, I disagree with that. I think again, Dr. Scott was bringing up two things. Number one was the electric car, but there's something else that's out there. They're not pushing it, and that's water. There are machines, there are cars or engines that actually run on water, and that right there, they have killed people over that.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but we already having water shortages.
Listen.
Where the water gonna come from?
But again, it's not clean water. It's not clean water. They're talking about just water. You put the water out of anywhere, put it in the engine, and it actually works.
Hey, listen! Instead of going to the to the gas station and getting a gallon of gas, hey man, let me get a gallon of that distilled water on.
right there. So again, it's available, but they're not. The electric car has always been available.
And how we treating this planet, we ain't gonna have no water left.
Well, listen, the electric car has always been available, but they knew that they wanted to.
If you can afford to buy one.
But again, so
it became a company said, I want to make money off of this gas. So we're gonna stick with gas because we need to make some money off of this gas.
But again, also
we went way away from
Yeah, my bad.
It's the same thing. It's about the company and the consumer. Because again, as a consumer, I still have the power. What happens is we give that power away, and then we say it's their fault. It's your fault that I'm addicted.
Well, let
It's
me.
your
I
fault
guess
that
this. I think this is a thing too, though, and then we'll stop. I'll be quiet. I'll try to anyway.
But it's two more things.
No, just one thing. Just one thing. Maybe two. I think sometimes when we're talking and we're having this conversation right now, I think the other thing we have to begin to really look at is the power of addiction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're saying we have the power, but when a person is addicted, they feel powerless.
Mm.
So I think that's something else that we have to understand, and that's why I do feel like there's going to be some validity to this lawsuit, and these companies are going to be held to a level of accountability because there's a level of addiction now.
Mm-hmm.
And now addiction now is not seen as a war on drugs or whatever,
Right.
but addiction now is seen as a sickness.
Right.
It's a sickness seen as a disease, and it's viewed differently. And when you
Right.
look at the number of, it's not just poor black kids and poor white kids, but it's people who have money, it's wealthy people, their kids are being affected by this. And so now, because when you understand the civil lawsuit is a rich man's sport.
Mm.
You don't do that unless you got money.
Real, yeah.
Poor people don't do civil lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when a poor person is in a lawsuit, it's a company that says, hey, look, you don't pay us unless you win. Because they don't have the money to go out and say, hey, I'm going to sue X, Y, and Z. So that's why poor people don't sue. So this lawsuits is a sport for rich people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so there is a level of validity to it because you got rich people who kids are being infected and they have the money to put in and don't think because again, court, the legal system, and when you're suing, it's not about right or wrong. It's about case precedent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard for a social media company to avoid it when we got Philip Morris and tobacco and the addiction that tobacco has caused and how they had to pay and what they had to do. And when it comes out to the forefront and everybody being see that these companies knew what they were doing. I mean, think about this. I just got on Facebook this year, right? And I'll stay off of Facebook and I haven't gotten on Instagram and I don't know how long, right? Now, this is the thing. I'll get a message saying 7 people or 12 people that posted since the last time you've been on.
Yeah.
So and so just posted something new. Why are they doing that? Because they're trying to get me
back on. Yeah.
So they are contributing, based on what I'm seeing, these social media companies are contributing to the level of addiction that takes place. And so there is a level of responsibility when a person becomes addicted and then there are adverse effects because of this addiction.
Yeah. It's crazy. So this has been Kitchen Talk. I did not expect to spend a whole hour on this one. But that's what we do. It was a good one. It was a good one. It was a good one. So I just want to take a minute also to announce our winners again from our summer subscriber campaign. We had Alex Williams and Sydney Sam and T. Fuller. I don't think Tashima knew that she had won yet. So there you go. So listen, this has been Kitchen Talk. It is always a good time in the kitchen. Always. So if you are watching us on Facebook, hit the like button. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Never miss another show. It will give you a notification that we are on. I would not be mad if you get addicted to Kitchen Talk, but hey, watch responsibly.
Watch responsibly.
Responsibly and responsibly, because we would like to hear from you.
Yes.
We are going to see you guys next week right here, same time, every Thursday, 9 o'clock. Super excited that you joined us. Thank you Frensley Moist, thank you. JT Plummer, thank you. Marvin Scott for riding with us. Appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, we out.
God peace.
Not the side piece, not the side piece. No.